Ever thought about a career as an after-sales service technician?
Hmm.
I'll be honest, it wasn't really on my radar.
Right.
But digging into this RoleCatcher guide, it's way more interesting than I expected, especially with all the tech stuff.
Yeah, it's not just screwdrivers and wrenches anymore, that's for sure.
So tell me more about that. How is tech changing the game for these technicians?
Well, think about it. You could be sitting at a computer, troubleshooting a wind turbine that's miles away.
Wow, remotely diagnosing problems like that. That's wild.
Exactly. And that's just one example. RoleCatcher really emphasizes that these days, you need some serious tech skills to make it in this field.
So like what kind of tech skills are we talking about?
They actually highlight PLC programming as being super important.
PLC program.
Yeah, it's basically the language of automated systems. You're not just fixing a part. You need to understand the entire logic of, like, a whole machine.
So you need to be kind of like an IT whiz on top of knowing how to fix things.
Exactly.
That's pretty intense. So what does a typical day even look like for an after-sales service technician?
You know, that's the thing. It's super varied.
Okay.
The guide mentions working in offices, going out to customer sites, even being in manufacturing facilities.
Oh, so you can be in a bunch of different environments.
Absolutely. And get this, non-standard hours are basically a given.
Okay, so you got to be flexible.
Definitely.
But I guess that also means every day is different, right?
Exactly. And a lot of people in the field really like that. Keeps things interesting.
So it's not just about fixing things. It's about, like, problem solving on the fly
Totally. And
and keeping customers happy.
you got it. Remember, you're the face of the company after the sale's been made.
Makes sense.
So yeah, your technical skills are obviously huge, but those soft skills like communication and patience, those are super important too.
So you got to be able to, like, explain what's wrong in a way anyone can understand.
Exactly. And sometimes you got to do that while you're dealing with a frustrated customer.
Oh, yeah. I bet that's not always easy.
Not always, no.
So it sounds like this job really needs a certain type of person, someone who can handle the tech side, but also connect with people. With all that in mind, what's the job market actually look like for this?
Well, RoleCatcher is actually pretty optimistic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, they say the field's growing quickly thanks to, you guessed it, technology.
That makes sense. More gadgets, more things to break.
Exactly. More things to install, more things to maintain.
So we're talking about a career with some good job security then.
Absolutely.
And maybe even potential to move up the ladder.
That's right. RoleCatcher even breaks the career path down into 4 distinct stages.
4 stages, really. I figured it'd be a lot more straightforward than that.
Yeah, 4 distinct stages. It's way more structured than you'd think. RoleCatcher lays it all out from entry level all the way to management, and they even have these example profiles for each stage.
So you get a sneak peek at what someone's career could look like. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's actually really insightful. So picture this, you're just starting out, raring to go. You'd begin as an assistant technician.
Okay, makes sense.
You'd be shadowing the more experienced technicians, learning the ropes.
Right, getting your hands dirty with the basic stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all about building that solid foundation.
So kind of like an apprenticeship.
Totally. You're proving yourself, mastering those essential skills, building a good reputation. But, and this is important, the guide makes it clear that you're not stuck there forever. Once you've got those basics down, you move up to junior technician.
Junior technician. Okay, so that sounds like more responsibility.
For sure.
And more independence, right?
Right. You're on your own a lot more. At this level, it's you handling installations, doing routine maintenance, even tackling repairs solo.
Wow, so you're really in the thick of it at that point.
You got it. It's all about troubleshooting out in the field, working directly with customers, and really honing those problem-solving skills under pressure.
And what about those customer summary reports?
Oh yeah, those become super important this stage. It's not just about fixing the problem. You got to be able to document everything you did, how you did it, and communicate that clearly to the customer.
So it's about being a professional, not just a fixer.
Exactly.
Okay, so you've put in the work, mastered your craft, aced the customer interactions. What's the next step up?
Well, once you've got some solid experience under your belt and a proven track record, you're in a prime position to move into a leadership role. Senior after-sales service technician.
So now you're the one guiding the newbies.
That's right.
That must be pretty rewarding, I'd imagine.
It is, but it comes with a whole new set of challenges. RoleCatcher really highlights this. Senior technicians often end up leading teams, mentoring junior colleagues, and coming up with ways to keep those customer satisfaction ratings high. They're also the go-to experts when a really tough technical issue pops up.
Talk about pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And the guide even mentioned that they sometimes have to do training sessions for those junior technicians.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like a whole other skill set on top of all the technical stuff.
Absolutely. It's about sharing your knowledge, making sure that next generation is ready to take over. But, for those who are really ambitious, there's one more step up that ladder.
There is. Okay, so what's the top rung?
After sales service manager.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Now that sounds serious.
It is. RoleCatcher describes this role as basically being the brains behind the entire after-sales service operation.
So big picture thinking, long-term planning, all that.
Exactly. You're making sure customer support is running smoothly, that everything's compliant with regulations, building relationships with suppliers and customers. It's a lot.
I bet. You'd really need to know your stuff to handle all of that.
Oh, definitely. This isn't just a tech job anymore. It's a real leadership position. You need a deep understanding of the industry, you've got to be business savvy, and you need to know how to inspire your team.
That is quite the journey, from helping out with basic repairs to overseeing a whole department. RoleCatcher's done a good job showing how many different paths there are in this field.
They really have. And no matter which path interests you most, there's one thing that RoleCatcher keeps emphasizing.
Okay, let me guess. With tech changing so fast, they probably talk about the importance of, always learning new things.
You nailed it. They're big on manufacturer training programs, online courses, workshops, all that. You really got to invest in yourself if you want to stay ahead of the curve in this field.
Makes total sense. Keep those skills sharp, right?
Exactly.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's be real. Landing that first job is the first hurdle. Does RoleCatcher have any advice on that?
I was going to say they wouldn't just leave us hanging without any tips on how to actually get hired.
No way. RoleCatcher's got a whole section on acing the interview process.
Oh, nice.
And it's really good. They even give you a bunch of example interview questions.
So you can walk in prepared. I like it. What kind of questions are we talking about here?
Well, they've got the classics like, tell me about a time you had to troubleshoot a tough technical issue, the standards.
Right, gotta have those. But they also have more scenario-based ones, like how would you handle a customer who's just beside themselves because the same problem keeps happening?
Oh, so they want to see how you deal with those real-life customer situations.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher makes it clear it's not about having these perfect rehearsed answers.
It's about thinking on your feet.
Yeah, exactly. They want to see that you can think through a problem and that you understand what's important to them in that situation.
That makes sense. But what about those curveball questions they throw at you sometimes?
Oh, you mean the ones that totally catch you off guard?
Yeah, exactly. Any advice on how to handle those?
Well, remember that RoleCatcher Copilot AI we were talking about earlier?
The AI thing, yeah.
That can actually help you prepare for those curveballs.
Wait, really? How does that even work?
It's pretty cool, actually. The AI looks at the job description and uses that to guess what kind of questions they might ask.
Wow.
And get this, it can even watch videos of you doing practice interviews and give you feedback.
No way. So it's like having an interview coach right there on your computer.
Basically.
That's amazing. What kind of feedback does it even give?
It can tell you stuff about your tone of voice, your body language, even what you're actually saying.
Oh, wow.
And then it gives you suggestions on how to improve.
Okay, that is seriously next level stuff. I could use that last time I had an interview. But let's say you totally nail the interview, you get the job, you've been working there a while. What if you decide, maybe you want to do something a little different within the same field?
Well, RoleCatcher's got you covered there, too. They have this whole section on alternative job titles.
Okay. Alternative titles. What's that all about?
It's like your skills as an after-sales service technician, they're valuable in a lot of different roles, even if the job title doesn't scream technician.
Oh, interesting. So you're saying even if I don't want to, fix gadgets forever, those skills can still take me places.
Exactly.
What kind of alternative job titles are we talking about?
Let's see. They list things like renewable energy consultant,
Okay, yeah.
technical sales representative, even stuff like field service engineer, technical support specialist.
See, that opens up some possibilities.
Right. It's not just about fixing things. It's about solving problems, talking to people, understanding how stuff works. Those skills are useful everywhere.
Totally. And RoleCatcher doesn't stop there, do they?
Nope. They also point out some career paths that might be a bit further out, maybe need some extra training, but you'd be building on the skills you already have.
Well, like what? Give me an example.
Well, imagine you're a technician, right? But then you move into a technical sales role. where you're using all that product knowledge you've built up to advise clients, help them find solutions, close deals.
So instead of fixing the product, you're selling it.
Exactly. Or you could move into management, but in a related field where you're managing a team of technicians, maybe even creating training programs.
Wow, okay. I'm really starting to see the bigger picture here. This isn't just a job. It's like a launch pad.
Total.
RoleCatcher really did their homework with this guide. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up here, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
Honestly, I think the biggest takeaway is that being an after-sales service technician, it's not just a job, it's a real career. It's challenging, it's always changing, and there's a ton of potential. If you like solving problems, working with your hands, and staying up to date on all the latest technology, this could be the perfect fit for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And thanks to RoleCatcher, we have this amazing resource to help us figure out if it's the right fit, get prepared for interviews, and even map out where we want to go in our careers.
They've given us the roadmap. Now it's up to us to decide where we want to go.
Beautifully said. But here's one last thing to think about. RoleCatcher talked a lot about how tech is changing this whole industry. So what innovations do you think are coming next? How will the role of the technician continue to evolve? Keep those questions in mind because who knows, maybe you'll be the one leading the way.